don't think that should impede us.
I appreciate Andrew's invoking the name of Royal Captain, who I loved and was really there at the beginning of my entrance into cover. And I think his example is one to be addressed. So I want to just focus on this question that Andrew raised: how do you have a conversation with people who don't want to have a conversation? One of the things you do is you study how we got to this situation. You study. In Judaism, we say, in the temples, they sacrificed. Now we pray and read. So what we do is pray and read. And it seems to me we have 18 courses of action here. The 18 courses of action are as follows. Christians need to study how they've been victims and victimizers, and how they view Jews to have been victims and victimizers, and how they view Muslims to have been victors and victimizers. Jews need to study how they have been victims and victimizers. Jews need to ask how Christians, from their point of view, have been victims and victimizers, and how Muslims have been victims and victimizers. That's 12, right? 6 more. Muslims need to ask how they have been victims and victimizers, and how, from their point of view, Jews have been victims and victimizers, and how Christians, from their point of view, have been victims and victimizers. That seems to outline the area.
I appreciate very much Professor McKenna's remarks. I think we need to have the voices of the people who are not here, who are not part of this kind of intellectual dialogue. I think that's very important. And here, with all due respect, I disagree with Dita and with Sheila. I think this is a terrible Western intelligentsia illusion. The people in Palestine like the suicide bombers. They give out candy. They support them. The people voted for Hamas. This is an illusion that there are peace all over. The Israeli population supported the Lebanon war. They support the existence of one Jewish state. It's an illusion to think that people on the margin really represent the people. Otherwise, if the new historians were really in charge and the people who came to Innsbruck really represented, all the terrorist victims really felt that way, we wouldn't have the war. I think this is a terrible myopia among Western intellectuals to seem that this is the case. So I want to ask, I really am, again, coattailing on Professor McKenna's remarks, we need to talk with people who don't want to talk to each other, and that cover can do, I think. And in this sense, I think what cover could do is not do practical action, in my view, and perhaps I'm repeating myself, but to do really studies of mimetic envy. Understanding how do people in the refugee camps, and you mentioned this, see the Israelis? What is the cause of their resentment? How do people in Tel Aviv or Sderot feel about people in Gaza? How do the people in Hamas feel about Fatah? In that sense, we could get a collected armament of research material that would tell us really the depths of the conflict rather than beginning at the solution. I would urge cover to do that.
Okay, one remark and one further question, I think. If I understood it in the right way, there was the question is if Islamic people are interested in mimetic theory. I want to turn the question round, is mimetic theory interested into Islam? I think up to now, it's no, not much done in this way. In Innsbruck we started a little bit work in this direction. I think that would be very important in future. And what I've called a question, so for me it's very important, a crucial point, how could the identity building of the both conflict parties be enforced in Israel and Palestine? Identity building aside dissociation from others. And I think that's very problematic there, and maybe that's a difference to other conflicts, for example in South Africa, that both sides have to find a common future within their own group. before they can start the dialogue with the other one. This Hamas and Fatah conflict and the immigration problem on the Israeli side and so on. So that's, as I said, a further question for me: how can this identity building be enforced? And you've asked, should these sessions take on? I've the impression there is a lot of interest in this question, and we've heard a lot of names of people who could and should be invited, so why not?
Okay, why not? First, thank you to our panelists who really prepared very well and also worked with a time schedule. We need our breaks, and after lunch you will say something. The business meeting of Cover takes place, and please take that seriously too.
Yeah, the business meeting will happen right here in an hour from now.